One of the worst things in the world is loving someone that you know you shouldn't love, someone who has treated you poorly and you don't even understand why you still have feelings for this person, but you literally do. And you almost wish in some way that they would just turn around and come back in your life. Now, it's really easy to just judge ourselves for feeling the way we feel. Maybe you've even been rejected. Maybe you've been discarded. Maybe you've gone through a really horrible breakup and yet you still have feelings for this person. And now you're almost judging yourself for it. You're sitting there asking yourself, what is wrong with me? I must have absolutely no self-respect. I must have such little self-worth that I would even still want to be in a relationship or even still love someone who can treat me in this way. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a human being and you've gone through a lot of things in your life that have gotten you to this point. You also have to understand that love is not a logical thing, it's an emotional thing. Of course, you can ask yourself the obvious questions of what have I gone through in my life that has led me to this point, but you don't want to judge yourself. We do, however, want to tackle some of the things that probably you've gone through that have led you to this point. But for now, let's talk about why it just takes so long sometimes to fall out of love with someone. For most people, they don't really make a conscious effort. They think they're trying to get over someone, to fall out of love with someone, but they're not taking the right steps to do it. They're just doing the same things over and over again, which are causing the same results. Now, the saying, out of sight, out of mind, is a saying for a reason. What you want to do, and what a lot of people don't do in the beginning, is they don't create enough distance between themselves and their ex-partner. Every situation is completely different, and the amount of distance that you can have from a person varies from relationship to relationship. Obviously, if you're in a marriage and you share children, you're not really going to be able to get that much distance from this person if you have to co-parent with them. If you're ending a relationship and perhaps you own some businesses together, you're not going to be able to just out of sight, out of mind. But for the people that can, the distance that I'm referring to now is things like social media, is things like asking mutual friends about them, or even not setting up proper boundaries with mutual friends to say, hey, I'm really trying to move on and I don't want to hear about this person and things that are going on in their life. This is where you really want to work on the self-discipline to even do things like checking their social media. Because here's what I want you to understand about falling out of love and getting over someone really quickly. You are already going to be triggered in so many ways. You're going to hear a song, you're going to look at something, you're going to be at a place, you're going to remember a time, you're going to go through your first anniversary where you remember that day, the first holiday or birthday of you being by yourself. So you're going to already have so many triggers that you voluntarily putting yourself in situations or consciously going to a social media site or asking questions about them is not going to help you to move on any quicker. When people idealize this person, they are going to absolutely struggle with falling out of love with them. There's a fantasy and story that plays in our minds of who this person was and who this person was supposed to be to us. And if we keep that story alive by consciously engaging in it, it's just going to keep you stuck. Now, this is not an easy thing to do, and it's not easy for a couple of reasons. The first reason being that it's almost enjoyable. It becomes an addiction to want to put this person back on that pedestal, to fantasize about what you were supposed to have and live in that fantasy world and not being able to really face and accept the realities of where you actually are and who this person is. We tend to idealize the person that we're in love with, and the reason why we're able to do that is, yes, of course, the fantasy and the stories that we create in our minds and just living in those and not really living in reality, like we just said. But another really huge part of that is going to be you just always focusing on all the positives and good times and not really focusing on the negatives or the things that you weren't able to get from this person or this relationship. And this isn't about being pessimistic and just looking at the negative side of this relationship, but the negative side weighed more than the positives about this person. And everyone's going to have positives, even the most toxic relationships. There are going to be some things that you enjoyed about that person. But if you only focus on those things and you don't ever bother to look at all the ways that you weren't happy in this relationship and the ways that this person was never going to be able to be the person that you wanted them to be, it just prevents you from actually accepting who this person is in the relationship that you were really in. You reminding yourself of who this person is going to help you to start detaching from the fantasy and the story of who you wanted them to be. Now, here's the hardest thing that people don't tend to focus on, or people don't ever do, that keeps them stuck in this cycle of being in love with a person that they should no longer be in love with, or learning how to fall out of love with someone and do it quickly. This is the thing that you have to do as often as you possibly can. It's the thing that is going to be the hardest. You have to redirect your thoughts and your emotions. So you have to be able to feel something if you need to feel it, grieve, mourn, etc. But you can't stay stuck there. When you stay stuck there and you allow yourself to continuously mourn and grieve a person that didn't exist, it's just going to keep you stuck in a cycle. If you are not able to redirect your thoughts from living in a fantasy and projection and idealizing that relationship and that person to facing more of the realities of who this person is, and you're going to fantasize continuously and you're going to always be mourning something that never really existed. But when you can redirect your thoughts into who this person actually is and the reality of this situation, it helps you to start processing your emotions faster so you can get over this person quicker. You really want to learn how to redirect your thoughts in that way, but also start focusing, shifting your focus on where you want to be, the person that you want to have in your life, and the life that you now want to have. And maybe the life that you now want to have still looks similar to the life that you did have, but you want it to be better, obviously. We want the relationship to be healthier. You want to be a different person as well. So falling out of love with someone is not just about them, it's also about you and growing within yourself and figuring out, why was I attracted to this person? This is where we start diving into trauma bonding, emotional wounds, all of that stuff that has kept you stuck being satisfied with this type of relationship, even though you weren't really happy. If you're honest with yourself, you can admit that you weren't really happy. Now, here's the real struggle, because I've talked to so many people that struggle with this. They really did think they were happy. And the problem with that is that means that the bar was so incredibly low. They weren't really thinking about who they wanted in a partner, in a person, in a friendship. They didn't understand just the magnitude of what that actually means. So you want to just start consciously shifting your focus on what you want, who you want to be, who do you want to attract, and focusing your energy there versus focusing on something that is not going to help you to actually get to where you want to be. And you're just going to get stuck in this cycle. And this is where you start to create that habit of just ruminating, idealizing, and that's not going to help you to fall out of love with this person. When you're dealing with a more severe case, like narcissistic abuse, for example, when you've dealt with a lot of emotional abuse, this is now magnified. Because not only do you have to really dive into personal development to understand, why did I even put up with this? Why was I attracted to this person? And not in a judgmental way, in a way of sheer curiosity, of trying to learn more about yourself and heal some things within yourself. But you're also dealing with things like manipulation and gaslighting and passive aggressive behavior and the silent treatment and all those things that you had to endure, cheating, lying, betrayals, all of that most people don't really go through when they're ending a relationship. The average person that just falls out of love with each other or realizes that they're just not compatible are not going to deal with these types of severities in their relationship. So not only are you trying to fall out of love with this person, but now you're diving into topics and things that you've never really learned about before, and it's completely eye-opening. So now you're trying to heal from all that as well. This is why when you end a relationship, self-development is, it's crucial. You absolutely have to dive into it. There's no way around it, because you have to work on things like your self-esteem now, your self-worth, who you are, healing, all of those things. This isn't just about consciously doing a couple of things to fall out of love with a person. You want to start doing these things to fall back in love with you that will help you to attract a better relationship going forward. Falling in love is, yes, it's an emotion, but it comes with the decision that you make. It's a decision that you made to love this person. Now, whether or not you want to really take responsibility for that and understand that that's something that you consciously, well, I wouldn't say consciously did, but you did on a logical level. Now, again, if you're unhealthy, you're going to make these decisions coming from a logical place, but not the healthiest place. You decided to be in this relationship. You decided to marry this person. You decided to spend all of your time with this person. You decided to only see the good and not see whether or not this person was actually right for you. So falling out of love is going to be the same thing. It's going to be a decision that you start to make, where you start to examine that, This person isn't the person that you're making them out to be. And while you can still have love for a person, being in love with someone is completely different. Now, I know that this stage of your life is really hard and it's difficult to fall out of love with someone. It's hard to face the realities of what you're going to have to face right now. And you're going to have to do a lot of work on yourself as well. I hope that this video and this channel gives you the information, the insight, the motivation, everything, all the tools that you need to really just heal and also rebuild and move on with your life. I thank you guys so much for all of your love and support and comments and messages that I get from you guys, that this channel is really helping you. So I hope you enjoy your day, and I hope you really love yourself and start healing that broken heart. Bye, guys.